So a lot of things going on. So I guess before we get to our usual stuff, I do have to ask you about, the absolutely horrific act, the terrorist act that happened in London, Ontario, that took out an entire family and there's one child that's 9 years old that's in the hospital. I heard he's doing better, but he's doesn't have a family anymore. I got to ask your thoughts on that.
So thank you for that opportunity. And of course, we'll take a moment of silence tomorrow at Council, as we did today at the Leadership Conference. This is just a devastating tragedy. And as you called it rightly, an act of terrorism. When you have a family that is killed by a motor vehicle by an individual who has hatred in his heart. I find that just despicable. I really do. I'm so upset. I can't think of anything else between the killing of the Salman Afzal family and the 215 children in Kamloops a week ago Sunday. There's just too much grief. It's just been unbearable. And, I really thought we'd come beyond this, where there would be killing for hatred, as we saw in London, Ontario. And I spoke to the mayor, Ed Holder, and he's beside himself as well. And that there's the vigil tonight, which I'll be honest, I would have loved to have gone to, and I would have. I have you tonight, and then I have another Black community engagement session. And of course, I didn't want to disappoint them. But I know that our Muslim community here in Mississauga is organizing a vigil. I haven't got all the details. It may occur this weekend, Saturday afternoon, but it's the right thing to come together and mourn and to grieve that, four beautiful people were needlessly killed. And then the young boy of 9 years old, I did hear, I got a message, a WhatsApp message, that he has been responsive. He's aware that his mother, his father, his grandmother, and his sister have been killed. And he asked if he could go home to collect his things and where he would live. Imagine the grief of a 9-year-old boy. It's just asking permission to go back to his family home. How incredulous is that? So, I am so heartbroken this week. I just can't imagine the kind of hatred this individual, and we won't mention his name, has in his heart, that he would be a killer of a family, a beautiful family, out for a walk as a family, the kind of activity we tell them to do. Go out, walk your trails, walk the sidewalks, get to know your neighborhoods. And then comes a heinous individual who kills them with his car.
Yeah.
No, so thank you for that opportunity. Of course, my heartfelt condolences to the extended Salman Afzal's family, and I know that there are relatives nearby that will take the son and raise him, and that's just a very unfortunate situation, just devastating for everyone. And I think we really have to look introspectively on how this could happen in Canada,
Yeah.
where we embrace our diversity. We want to be welcoming and inclusive. We invite newcomers to come here, and now, perilously, they take a walk and suddenly they're killed by a hateful individual. It truly is an act of terrorism.
It is, yeah, and I hope this leads to change in
I
a
hope
lot
it
of.
does. Because,
So
I would have thought we were beyond that in Canada. And my heart is so heavy, that could happen in a town, London, Ontario. Two of my children went to school there. We've got the Prime Minister, the Premier, most of the politicians coming in for this vigil tonight. And I'll be thinking of them and have this family in my memory and in my thoughts.
So we'll get into the people's questions now. So the Delta variant that we talked about, that you guys have brought up on the presser, can that slow down the Peel reopening if it's not contained?
It's an excellent question, because I asked Dr. Lowe that myself. We know he's very cautious, and I was very concerned that if he was being cautious, would he add restrictions to the reopening? And the good news is no. He feels it is the right time to reopen. So some of the facts we should all understand is the new variant, the Delta variant, the B1617, originally found in India, is now 30% of all new cases in
Okay.
Peel region. Well, in Peel region. So, and we also know that if you've only been vaccinated with the first dose, it's only 33 to 52% effective. Very important that people get their second dose. So we've been asked once again to implement another hotspot strategy to target Peel in particular, but also Toronto, because we also know that that would prevent a fourth wave. Because if we can avert, douse the fire here, then that'll avert to the transmission throughout the province. So Dr. Lowe is also optimistic because most of the activities that are opening on Friday are very low risk because they're outdoors. They're outdoor activities. They're patios for 4 people, outdoor fitness, outdoor recreation, and in-person shopping, but very limited capacity, 15% in non-essential retail. So I'm very grateful that we'll be opening our restaurants and our non-essential and our retailers. And even though it's a limited basis, it will allow us a very slow startup, and that will give us a little bit more time to get more vaccines in arms.
Sure. So this is a kind of a strange thing because obviously we'll talk about our numbers later, but Square One is open, right? So you could actually walk around the mall. But on June 11th, right, people don't know that Square One's actually stores within a mall that doesn't have an outdoor entrance or exit are still closed.
Well, the mall is open because people like yourself like to do their indoor exercise, mall walking, but there are some essential businesses that are open which are located in malls. Some of them are medical clinics or pharmacies, etc. So let's be honest. And those retailers do delivery and pickups. You can go there and pick up your purchase outside. Think of the indoor malls as the outdoor, but that will all change in any case on Friday because they will be permitted 15% capacity. They will be opening. And, I'm a little concerned about an influx of people who have this pent up consumerism that want to get out and go shopping. I hope that's not the case. There's lots of time, folks. This is the reopening. Take your time. There is a new variant. It is easily spread. The thing about this new variant, the Delta, is it's even more transmissible and even more severe than the Alpha variant, which is the B117. So interestingly, I didn't think anything could be more severe, but this one is. So there's time. There's time. I do not foresee another lockdown. I do not. I think we are at almost 75% vaccinated 18 plus. We're at 73% and change. We are at 40% 12 to 17. We have started our second doses among 70 plus. In addition to people who were vaccinated between March 18th and April 18th. And guess what? That includes me. My mama and I are going on Friday. So we will say that, of course, she is 80 plus, as we know, Veronica's 85. And because I went with her between March 18th and April 18th, I get to sign up. And I only had to call the phone number 60 times. To book an appointment.
Well, at least you did it.
I had them on redial, of course. I was pretty surprised when they finally got through, too. I was waiting for the computer screen to refresh, but it just seemed faster calling. So I encourage everyone to do the same. Go out when your number is called or your dates are called and go out and get vaccinated. It's the only way to avert a fourth wave, and it will ensure that we don't go into lockdown, and it will ensure that once we're open, we stay open.
100%. I am getting the second dose. So did you, by the way, last week you mentioned that you were going to dig up some numbers in regards to how many businesses have closed during the pandemic. Did you get a chance to get those numbers?
What was the question again?
Oh, how many businesses have closed down in Mississauga during the pandemic?
Oh, okay.
No, don't worry. If you didn't get it,
How many businesses? Okay, I'll ask. See if they go. Okay, keep going.
Okay, let's talk about tickets then. Did you get the ticket numbers?
I do.
Okay, let's do that.
Yep, only.
No worries. I know you're crazy busy, so.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, the tickets aren't bad this week, actually. I'll share, and then I have the numbers too, of course. The numbers are looking really good. So 15 charges this week again, and more of the same. The car meetup was the big one once again. The car meetup was 11 tickets.
Where was that?
I can't tell you, but normally
Oh,
they have large parking lots and sort of, north of the city where there's lots of big box retail.
okay, okay. You just okay.
Got it.
Noted.
Unlicensed vendor, and then the other three were private residence gatherings. Quite a few, there are 3 tickets for private residence gatherings. And once again, I say this every week, we don't proactively go and see if your mother is visiting. It's just if your neighbors complain, because there are a lot of cars and a lot of music and a lot of activity. And then there were some people who were educated and informed because there were large groups gathered to play basketball, cricket, or just large groups gathering. Cricket and basketball were the big ones. So it's for 15 tickets, not bad. And then 7 total incidents involving almost 200 people, and an additional 32 educated on mask compliance on transit vehicles or on public property.
Okay.
Yeah.
And cool. And the COVID situation and the numbers in Mississauga?
Yeah. So I will tell you, yesterday, my favorite number, 33. We only had 33 cases. Can you imagine? We had 500 about a month ago. I'm so thrilled. And today we're 39 cases rather. But let's talk about cases per 100,000 so we can make it apples to apples rather than apples to oranges. So last week, if you recall, Peel was 100 cases per 100,000. That's easy to remember. This week we are 61.5 cases per 100,000. That is superb. Mississauga, last week we were 81 cases per 100,000. We are now 58
Nice.
cases per, and declining, because if today this week we've been in the 30s. So that is great news. We're double digits, Khaled, not triple digits.
I remember the numbers. Yeah.
Yay. Okay. Brampton last week was 130.6. They've almost in half. Fantastic work, everyone in Brampton. 72.9, so call it to 73. Caledon, they were 93.5, and they are half as well. 43 cases per 100,000. So I'm elated. When I look at the positivity rates, we are 5.6, Caledon's 5.7, Brampton 7.0, still really good, well under 1, which is the key. And the positivity rates are, those were the positivity rates. The R factors, again, are all very good. They're similar, actually. They're all under 1, as I was saying, 0.79, 0.6 in Caledon, and 0.66 in Brampton. And those are the reproductive rates, the R factor. So we're doing really, really well, really, really well. And I'm very, very pleased. But the worrying concern is that the new variant, the Delta, and there could be other new variants in the future, of course.
But 100.
But once we are all vaccinated, it won't matter.
Sure. So I know you've been, the Peel mayors have been fighting or advocating to get more doses in Peel. We are still a hotspot, and I know that because we do articles every week in regards to the COVID-19 positivity rates, and there are a few in Mississauga and Brampton that are way higher than the average, right? So what has the province told you about reallocating more vaccines to us?
So the good news is that we're all very hopeful they'll do the right thing, because it is the right thing to do, to implement another hotspot strategy. Let's be honest. If there is any threat of a 4th wave, could you imagine if you're suggesting to the residents of Ontario we may have to lock down again because of a 4th wave? That will certainly grab a foothold here in Peel and in Toronto first, and then spread, because of course this is where the density is, and this is where the essential workers both live and work, and that have to go to work each day, that can't work from home like many of us do, and that keep our economy going. So they know it is the right thing to do. They've been told so by Dr. Peter Uni, who is head of the Science Advisory Table, as well as many of the doctors. So there's a lot of pressure on them. They've heard from the mayors, all of us, including Mayor Tory in Toronto. They've heard from the public health officials. So there's a lot of pressure on them to do so. So, they have to balance the demands of their caucus as well, because any additional vaccine we get means that one of their regions won't be so fortunate, right? Won't get as much vaccine. But it is the right thing to do, because many of them have 0 cases today, where we have 33 or 39.
Sure.
So let's deal with it in the hotspot zones. And, we did see that little bump last week, right? That little bump was created by the May long weekend. right? That's what happened there. And we can see it in the numbers. 10 days to 2 weeks later, there it is. There's the effect.
So with everything, going good and the numbers going down, and do you see the city giving out permits for events and such in September, October?
I don't think so. And largely the reason for that is because you need a lot of lead time to prepare a large event, and you would have had to make all those financial contributions by now. Tomorrow at council, we'll be discussing permitting for outdoor recreational activities. So we've had some people ask us whether we would consider allowing them to do outdoor fitness classes in public places, or yoga classes, or Zumba classes. And so that's something council will discuss. And, I would expect they would approve it up until phase 3, right? Because we'll see a larger reopening as of phase 3. I think most things will be open. So starting in phase 1, whether we would allow that permitting. So with respect to the square, I know Utah's watching, and he wants to watch movies in the square. I know he does, but I don't think I don't think it's the right thing to do just yet, particularly given the threat of the wave. But the good news is we can allow 10 people to gather now safely. Outdoors is best, and 4 people on a patio. So that's all great news. Per table, 4 people per table, because let's not forget we had capacity limits or other restrictions even on outdoor patios. So now they're allowing up to 4 people on a patio, and that may increase. And and we may go through those phases sooner than 3 weeks if the numbers hold and continue to decline, right? So the original thought was we'd open on the 14th and wait 3 weeks. So look, we were opening on the 11th. And I know that if things go well, they may, move up the phase 2 opening. So let's fingers crossed that everything goes well, but that's all contingent on shots in arms. So let's just keep encouraging everyone to go get vaccinated. Check all the websites. Let me give the website, peelregion.ca, COVID-19 vaccine.
Awesome. So I was lucky enough that I went to a food truck festival, but it was in Scarborough, right?
Dear.
Yeah, it was, socially distanced and everything. It was, sanctioned, obviously,
Yes. Well, I think we've had those here too. We've had them in Square One, I think. Yep.
Yeah. So, and then one guy yells at me, goes, "You're the guy that interviews the mayor of Mississauga all the time." I'm like, "Yeah, that's me, right?" And then he's like, "Can you ask her a question for me?" And I'm like, "Okay." So he's very into activity. So he goes, "Can we get active TO, but in Mississauga on the major streets?" That's what he asked me to ask.
Oh, that is a great question. And we did do that last year. We had, portions of the downtown closed off for cycling. I know it creates havoc when they close off Lakeshore at the Gardner Lakeshore split. Right, it does, let's be honest. And so they're not doing it every weekend. They're kind of rotating active TO around the city of Toronto. And, we did do that last year, quite a number of streets in Mississauga. We don't have a plan to do that right now, but councils tomorrow, or GC, general committees tomorrow, we can certainly raise it. But, I'm quite active. And I cycle on the waterfront trail and hike a lot. And I see many people out in the community, out walking, out riding. So notwithstanding that we don't have designated streets closed off, people are active, and there is active Mississauga.
Okay. Awesome. Okay, I'm going to ask you a couple more questions, probably not related to COVID. So we are already seeing future plans for Dixie Mall and Sheridan Mall. I think they're rebranding with an eye of future development. Can you tell us what you see in these sites over the next 10 years? Because it looks like there's a huge redevelopment.
So this is all part of our reimagining the mall. So we have a lot of outdoor strip malls in Mississauga that lay bare in all kinds of parking spaces, asphalt, pure asphalt, that really is unused other than certain weekends of the year where things are very busy. So we've thought, what is a better use for our malls? And it might be a combination of retail and residential and commercial and even employment, office employment. So, we've got a strategy, and there's a city report that came to planning on reimagining the mall. And yes, you're quite right. Dixie Mall is up for development and discussion. The mall has been sold to a developer. There is active discussion nothing confirmed, because of course that hasn't come to planning yet. But of course there is a group that plans to put some housing, some condominiums, etc., on that land, and it is our responsibility to zone it and to plan it responsibly. So, we always say earn the sky, put density where it's warranted around transit nodes. So that is planned. And you also know that they are reconfiguring the Dixie exit onto the QEW. And that's a provincial government project. It's an infrastructure project that will see a more reasonable entrance and exit onto Dixie Road and the QEW. So that's great news. So that is one. And that I do know that the Sheridan Mall at Erin Mills Parkway QEW was purchased, and it is undergoing a facelift right now. It's being transformed, and I like the look of it. So I'm very pleased, but I know that there are also plans to add residential and employment there as well, to make better use of all the land that exists there. We haven't approved anything yet. And, I know that the developer is working with our planning department and the councillor on putting forward options. And then we say, whoa, that's too much, right? But certainly, and we're doing that right across Ontario, right across the city of Mississauga. And I know that, Erin Mills Town Centre, Meadowvale Town Centre, what's the other one on Dundas Street? Many of them are being are looked at very closely on redevelopment potential.
No plans have been put in officially for Dixie?
Whether there is definitely discussion at the planning level. Nothing has come to council, so until it comes to council, for me, it's not official. But certainly there is discussion. There have been proposals made, and I know that that our planning department has said that's way too much density. Come back with something more reasonable, something that would be appropriate for the character of the community. But there's a lot of land there, and that's the Dixie Value Mall, right? The Dixie Outlet Mall. So there's a lot of land.
Always half empty.
I know, right? So I know, but they have grand plans, much too grand for my liking, and I know the councillor doesn't agree with them either. So, we'll get to the right place. We're not there yet, so it's not anything worth discussing at this point, because it won't be the final product that will be presented to council.
Okay. And I always have to bring this up, but I don't do cannabis. When can we expect Mississauga to start having private cannabis retailers legal?
Well, that's a very timely question, as a matter of fact, because that issue, the report is coming to council tomorrow. Okay. June 9th. There'll be a discussion. It's just a report to update us on, the sale of cannabis in other municipalities. We know that there are only 4 in the GTA that opted out. Vaughan, Markham, ourselves, and Oakville. Everyone else opted in. And we're looking at the experience of those municipalities that opted in. And so I will say that my council is very concerned, and largely so because there are a number of many retail stores have closed down as a result of the pandemic. And would they be occupied by cannabis shops? And the answer my councillors will give you is no. And so we do want control over zoning. I know you can't put a cannabis store 150 meters from sensitive use, which they define as a school, but there's more than a school. There's a community center, there's a drop-in center, there's a daycare, group homes, etc. So we want that flexibility to zone them where we want them, and we don't want a concentration in any one location. And so far, the provincial government has not given us that right. And that is something my councillors are very concerned about. I mean, when you look on the council agenda, you will see that there is a report from Peel Police that has been attached as well. And that report clearly shows you that anywhere that there is an illegal cannabis store operating, it does come with other illegal activities, much more so than where there is a legal shop. So that's a concern, right? And then of course we see the rise of mobile deliveries of cannabis as a result. So we're seeing in those communities that have opted in, we are seeing a decline of the illegal market, which is great news. This is something that's coming up for discussion. I don't want to prejudice it by presupposing what the answer will be. I know that the vote is not definitive at this point either way. If I had to guess, I would say it probably would not win. But I know that there are a number of deputations that may or may not be persuasive to the councillors. The councillors ultimately, no matter how great the revenue sales would be or whatever the benefits of having retail cannabis in Mississauga, the councillors ultimately want control over zoning, over where they will be located and what the concentration of those stores will be in any one area. And not given that by the provincial government, they may decide not to proceed at this time. So that's where we're at. And the provincial government hasn't moved on that issue.
Okay. And that vote can come next week, right? On the 16th, I believe?
Well, so this is a report without a recommendation. Okay. So it will be up to a councillor to move one recommendation or not, or or otherwise we receive the report, and we receive the report. That's just saying thanks to the staff for writing it. We're not actually proceeding. We're not doing anything with it. So we could receive the report, or there could be a motion put forward to opt back in. But the interesting thing is, you remember, once you opt in, you can't opt back out. Once you're in, you're in. So we thought we'll play it safe, we'll opt out, and then we'll just evaluate. We'll look at the experience of those other municipalities that do sell retail cannabis, and we'll hope that the provincial government will listen to us and say, hey, we want more control because we're Mississauga, we like to plan, and we'll see. So we'll see tomorrow. So if somebody could move a motion tomorrow, and then it would get carried over to the council meeting for ratification.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Let's get to some viewer questions here. Will dance studios have to pay for park permits to run outdoor classes? Toronto has waived it.
And we're discussing, that's one part of the thing we're discussing tomorrow. Remember I said we're discussing permit fees for outdoor fitness, outdoor training, such as taekwondo or personal training or yoga or Zumba. I assume outdoor dance would be the same. It's very nominal though. It's a very nominal charge because of course you're in a public space, and that's only for phase 1 and 2 and 3, everything's open. So ask me again next week, because we're gonna have that discussion tomorrow.
Okay. Oh, did you get the numbers, by the way, for the...
just check, keep talking. EDO does not have this information, how many had to close or how many have been closed down completely. Some have closed down temporarily and some are closed forever. We don't have that data, unfortunately. Okay. Oh, that's a shame.
Okay. Here's another question I have from a viewer. Will restaurants still stop serving alcohol at 9 p.m.? Do you know that? Starting this Friday, obviously, once the patios are open.
That's a good question. Okay. Ask me the next one, I'll get an answer. I don't know. Yeah, that was a restriction under Gray. I don't think that restriction's in phase 1 though.
Okay. Here's another one from a viewer. Any laws or regulations expected from the government for people in workplaces who don't get vaccinated?
So no, the answer is no, not yet. Okay. The answer is no, not yet. Now, could that come? This is this will be a heavily discussed issue. For instance, airline travel. Will people say, if you've been vaccinated, no problem, show us your whatever you have, and if you're not. But governments have been very reluctant to have that discussion because there will always be a percentage of people who will not or cannot be vaccinated. Don't forget, there will be a percentage of people who, for whatever reason, their doctor's advice is don't get the vaccine. They have underlying health conditions, whatever they might be, maybe allergies to whatever the base component is, correct? And then there's other conscientious objectors who have a fundamental disagreement. So I don't know is the answer. That's something.
Okay. And then last question, which is probably the toughest for you. First patio you're gonna hit this Friday.
So full disclosure, I'll probably have to wait till Saturday. as you know, I'm taking my mom to get her vaccine on Friday afternoon. And mom is convinced she's going to be one of those people who are going to have symptoms and side effects and a bad reaction, and has made me promise to stay with her just in case. So I'll be with mom. And hopefully she'll feel perfectly fine. Probably will be me, not her, but whatever. We'll see on Saturday, and they'll probably hit one up Saturday or Sunday, because I guess they're open now. And that was very nice that the provincial government did that, because originally the opening was to be Monday. But why not capture the weekend, right? That's where they do a lot of their business. So I think that was a great plan, and it gave us, announcing it soon enough, gave us certainty and clarity so these businesses could plan. And that's what we'd always ask for, just more effective communication. Give us clarity, give us certainty. When are you going to open? You know, what are the rules? And I think that's so very, very important. And they did that. They said, okay, it won't be Monday, it'll be Friday. So everyone's getting ready. They're recalling staff. They've, you know, ordering their inventory, and they're getting ready to open. So it's very exciting.
And you brought up a good point. If you go to a patio and have a drink the day you have the vaccine, are you allowed to do that?
I wouldn't risk that, but that really wasn't my point. My point was going to, you know, she just wanted some
I know. I'm not,
company in the event that she was symptomatic. Right. You know, probably not a good idea. From what I've heard, most people just have a sore arm. There have been some, we have both heard of some individuals who have had, you know, flu-like symptoms or a fever for a day or so, but that's for the most part all it's been. It's a small cost to pay for being fully vaccinated, I think.
I will ask Dr. Lawrence Lowe. Mayor Crombie, thank you so much for this week's chat. I'll see you next week.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.